Hello and welcome everybody to today's edition of the O'Rourke Report. Today is Monday, Monday, March the 4th. And got a couple of topics I want to cover with you today. Some of them we're just going to hit on and maybe go into more detail at another time. But let's go. Let's see what we got here. Okay. I don't just watch Bravo. I mean, I watch a lot of other reality television, and one in particular I used to watch all the time, but I don't watch it on a regular weekly basis because I have YouTube TV, and apparently they don't have an agreement with the parent company of the History Channel. I think it's the History Channel, TLC, and another one that I don't watch. But anyway, on the History Channel, I always used to watch the Oak Island one, the one for the past 12 years or however long it is. These guys have been digging in this little island up in the Nova Scotia area and literally not finding anything any year. Yet everybody tunes in every year thinking that this may be the big one. So anyway, you can find these episodes. In fact, I did find a couple of episodes on YouTube that the viewer had. It looks almost like they recorded it with their phone and they posted it up there. So anyway, I watched it. And true to form, nothing much has changed. They continue to dig like insanity and continue to find nothing. However, they make every twig or rock that they find make it sound like, God, this is the biggest step. We found it. So the show was, I don't know who the creator of the show. Oh yeah, I do know who the creator of the show is. I forgot his name. I saw a special on him one time. Beers, is it? Um, he came up with these two brothers that are one is an entrepreneur, the other one I'm not sure what his career was prior to this show, but they are brothers who read a Reader's Digest article back in the early 60s, captured their imagination. Apparently, this buried treasure on Oak Island is a well-known story, often tied in with lore regarding the Masons and the Knights Templar and all those things. And that fires anybody's imagination, or someone who's into history. They're fired by that. That's something, ooh, Knights Templar, let's check them out. And like I said, they've been on air for 10 or 12 years and they have yet to find a thing. However, people tune in and they have nicknames for each other. I think they call themselves little acorns. And it is, the same characters, and how they're able to pull this off year after year, I don't know. A little bit of a pet peeve. Let me just mention one thing. These brothers are very appealing. Their last name is Lagina. There's the older, taller brother, and then there's the younger brother who is the entrepreneur. Apparently, he's made a lot of money over the years and he's invested in these things. He's also invested in things like shipwrecks for Spanish galleons, looking for that gold. So these are waters he has swum in for years, and he and the brother have kind of hit gold with this show. Now, the taller brother, this is the one with the vision. This is their evangelist. This is their guy whose vision they're helping to fulfill. He's a very nice guy. However, once again, and I mentioned somebody yesterday with tortured syntax. I think it was Lady Colin Campbell. The tortured syntax on this guy is just brutal. I mean, he searches for new ways to say the same thing over and over again, and you listen to it, and you're like, oh, is he gonna make it? And he comes up with some tortured way of describing a very simple thing. Because I think he thinks the more complicated he makes it sound, the more in depth it is. I don't know what it is. But here's my teeny little pet peeve with this guy. Both of these guys are good-looking guys. They're, God, I gotta think they're in their 50s somewhere, late 50s, maybe even early 60s. I don't know. But the older guy, the older brother, does this thing that men do. And if I could change anything in the world, hopefully this message will get out across. If you're a guy, apparently your eyebrows grow like crazy once you hit a certain age, right? You gotta trim those things. You can't let them be going out like owls. You can't do that. It looks terrible. And since it's such an easy fix, you can do it yourself. Ask your barber, ask the guy or girl who does your hair. They can literally knock it out in seconds. And you can go from looking like a grizzly, crazy old owl to a normal person. And the reason it drives me crazy that this guy doesn't trim his eyebrows is he dyes his hair. When the show first started, he had dark hair and he's had a lot of gray come in over the years. And I noticed this year, oh, he's dyeing his hair now. Yet he's not trimming those eyebrows. Who's advising this guy? Trim the eyebrows. And I'm sure if you start paying attention to those little details, who knows, you may even find the treasure. So that's my 2 cents on the treasure of Oak Island. It's on the History Channel. You can catch some of the early episodes. Not much has changed. The only thing that's changed on Oak Island over the years, if you ask me, they have this guy, Billy Gerhardt in his name. He is a local guy, someone who lives in the area of this little island. And he has got this earth moving equipment. So when he first started, he had this tiny little cat that would come in and move earth. And now this guy has got dump trucks like you can't believe. Obviously, he's making a fortune over the show. God love Billy Gerhardt. He's the one who's really making it happen. If anybody's found treasure on the Oak Island, it's this local guy, Billy Gerhardt, and his earth moving equipment. So anyway, they're all very pleasant, nice guys. They're all doing, they're like little boys following their treasure, and it's really kind of fun to watch. Kids will love it, especially, well, I don't want to, you can't say what type of kids would like it anymore, but if you've got a kid that's got any sorts of adventure and likes a little history in there too, this is the show for you. The other show that, God, and I could really spend a lot of time on this one. I mean, I literally could probably do 2 or 3 hours. That's how fascinating I find this one. But I'm just going to introduce it, just going to bring it in a little bit. It's also on TLC, or is on TLC, and I think I have TLC. Do I have TLC through YouTube? Well, I watch the season's episodes without any trouble, so I must have it. I don't know what channel, on which one of my content providers I get it from, but it's been on, I guess, about, again, similar to Oak Island, maybe about 10, 12 years. It's called My Big Fat Fabulous Life. And unlike my 600-pound life, which is just heartbreaking each and every episode. I mean, these people, have there been any long-time successes? I don't know. It's really disheartening, and it's hard to watch those people in as much pain as they are, and they can't control it. And then you got Dr. Now come out and he goes, "You are being enabled." Dr. Now is a killer. I mean, he's great. But unfortunately, these poor folks don't ever get any resolution to their problem. Their problem is not going to be solved by getting the gastric bypass. Unless they fix it up here, they're not going to be able to fix it in their need to over satiate themselves. So anyway, let me go back to My Big Fat Fabulous Life. This, when the show started, girl, early 30s, overweight, 300 something, maybe even, over 350. And the whole premise of the show is she wanted to show you that she could live a big, fat, fabulous life despite being overweight, which is great. She's a type A, man. This is a smart, bright girl, and she is just going to have things go her way. She's not going to take the effort that needs to happen, or she has taken the effort in the past where she's lost the weight, but she quickly pounded it back on. And she's at that stage in her life at this point. And it's another one like my 600-pound life. Unless and until they fix what caused this to happen, what caused them to overeat, there's never going to be a resolution. It's never going to fix for her. So anyway, that's the beginning of the story. She uses all sorts of excuses as to why she gained the weight. Something to do with that's little Chloe going back in her secret little place. Can we see her back there? Yeah, Chloe's going in the cabinet. Little Chloe Marie's doing a little investigation. Um, oh, I forget where I was. Chloe has thrown me off my mark. Um, so anyway, oh yeah. She was blaming the weight gain on having ovarian cysts. Sorry, sweetie, you don't get to 360 pounds with ovarian cysts. You don't. And I watched the show from the beginning, so I know you also eat at least one large pizza at a sitting, and I've seen you knock into pizza number two. You overeat the worst stuff that you should be eating. So anyway, she's been around a long time. She is very fascinating work because, as I said before, she's very intelligent, very smart, she's she's used to getting her way. She's very manipulative, yes, but she's very likable as well. She's loved by her mother and father and her brother, and she's got a whole cadre of friends, and you follow the comings and goings of these people. At one point, which I continue to this day say was one of the most heartbreaking scenes I'd ever seen on reality TV in a really, really real way, she had, "Oh, look who's coming to visit. Come on, little Missy. That's enough for you. That's enough for you." Um, she actually, met a nice guy who appeared to love her. He's a good-looking guy, and they got engaged, the whole thing, and they ended up breaking up because it was while the cameras were not rolling. They were engaged at this point. They were deciding where to live. She lived down in Greensboro, North Carolina. He lived up in Wilmington. He owned a business up there. He thought that they should move up there, and she said, no, you're gonna revolve in my orbit. I'm not gonna revolve in your orbit, which was very on brand for her. And they had a breakup, and during that breakup, he slept with somebody else. They got back together, and when they are back together, this is right before the pandemic. This is right before March 2020. He is informed that this girl that he slept with is pregnant, and he knows he has to break up with Whitney because he wants to marry the girl who is pregnant and do the right thing by his child. I mean, all very noble things, but the heartbreak that you see, and she does it all for the camera. I mean, she really does do it all for the camera, is really some of the most heartbreaking thing I ever saw. At one point, she looks right in the camera and she goes, my future's ruined. I don't have a future anymore. At this point, she's mid to late 30s. She thought she was going to get married. She thought she was going to have children. And now she understands she has to start from dot. And the realization that all these visions that she had are gone, and it's heartbreaking. And you really feel for her. And in my case, I admired her for sticking with what she said she was going to do, which was show you her big, fat, fabulous life. So anyway, I won't go into what's happening now with her. We'll pick her up in another schedule because, like I said, I could literally do 45 minutes on her alone. But the latest thing that's happening in her life is she's losing weight, all sorts of things. She was always a pretty girl, but now she's really coming into her own. And the reason for that is, now remember, this is a girl that runs everybody in her life. She runs her mother, who has since passed away. It was very touching as well. Her mother, her father, her brother, and her friends. She is piloting that train, and everybody follows suit. Well, she's just been thrown a curveball. Her mother had had a stroke, and they tried to have her in rehabilitation, and she passed away December of, was it December of 22 probably. And right around that same time, somebody down in Louisiana does a DNA test, finds that his mother's really got a this and that. Long story short, Whitney's father is discovered to have fathered a child in the early 60s who was subsequently adopted. This is before he met Whitney's mother. And he wanted to marry the mother, but the mother decided to give the child up for adoption. And they discover now Whitney's half sister. So a lot of drama there. I'll pick it up at another date as their new season opens up, and I can get some more information on that. All right. Okay. So last night was Potomac and Married to Medicine. Haven't watched it yet, but I'm sure I'll have 2 cents to say on that. Married to Medicine, I've always said this from day one. They have a cast. Yeah, they fight like all the other casts, but they have a cast that truly endeavors to have real friendships. When there is problems, they work to resolve, and resolve in not a superficial way, but in a very real way. They also have 2 cast members, which are 2 women of all the Bravo franchises that you really can look up to. Both of them are OBGYNs, and they're just leaders. They're leaders, they're problem solvers. There's everything about them that you can admire. I really, really like them. So I'll give an update on, I think it's their first reunion, the first episode of their 3-part reunion. So that's that I'm going to watch tonight. And a lot of drama in there. I don't know if you know who Carlos King is. I think he was the original producer of Atlanta, and he is Real Housewives of Atlanta, and he is produces a lot of reality content and is really dialed into that Atlanta reality content market. I mean, everybody knows him. He knows everybody. And he did an interview with the originator of Married to Medicine, or at least the person who first bought the concept to a production company, and the decision was made to turn it into an actual show, which is, here we are, 10 plus years still running on Bravo. And Mariah was kicked off Married to Medicine because she was just so abrasive. She was abrasive. She thought, this is my show, you're going to do it my way. And all the other women said, oh no, this is an ensemble cast. And she butted heads with everybody. She'd also get physical with people. She and her mother would both get physical people. I'll never forget, I think it was the first episode. The mother had a pocketbook that, like an old lady pocketbook she'd wear around her wrist, and she'd taken it, she was hauling off and smacking people on their heads. Never seen anything like it. But that whole interesting scene, that whole Atlanta scene, I'm just fascinated and I can't get enough of. And let me just say, Married to Medicine, like I said, is somebody you can look up to and admire. Potomac, not a lot to admire in Potomac. There is a lot of drama that goes on there. There's some really high-profile personalities that I really like. So I'll be doing that tomorrow as well. I talked briefly about forced gaiety yesterday. How I hate when producers make the cast go, yeah, woohoo, woohoo. The other thing I hate is when these women, ah, they're going someplace and they want to express happiness and joy that they're on their way to this on this fabulous trip. And then they all start screeching. Yahoo! Oh my God, it's so embarrassing. I could never be on these shows. I would never in a million years do that screeching. So forced to gaiety and the ridiculous, stupid screeching. I don't know if we can put it all at the feet of Vicky Gundelson, the OG of the OC, who did her whoop whoop and somehow thinks that's a rallying cry. Um, but it's horrible. I wish it would just stop. So anyway, that's all I have for today. I've got a lot of other things that I didn't even get to today. But we'll do that tomorrow after I watch Potomac and Married to Medicine. Thanks, guys. Oh, please, and I always forget to say this. If you've stuck with me this long, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. The subscribe button doesn't cost anything. You're not committing to, paying $1.99. You're just saying that you would like a notification when new content comes on this channel, and it helps me out. So if you could hit the subscribe button and hit the like button, that would be super fabulous. Thanks, and I'll see you tomorrow.